We are at 3 o'clock, so let's call this special meeting of the Churchill Library Board of Trustees to order. And let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, and we have room for our first public comment of the session. Does anybody have a public comment that they would like to share? Hearing none, let's go on to a roll call of members. Do you want to start us off, Sue?
Present.
Jessica
Can you hear
Rowe?
me?
We can. Jessica Rowe, present.
Ryan Swarzik, present.
Sari Kaler, present.
Maddie Cerna, present.
Thank you. Moving on to the verification of the posting of the agenda.
Crystal Machado, for the record, the agenda was posted on the 19th of March between the hours of 10 and 12 at all the locations listed on the agenda in accordance with statutes.
Thanks, Crystal. Item 6, consideration and possible action regarding approval of the agenda as submitted or revised. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you, Sue. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sari. Let's take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye as well. So the motion carries. On to new business. We are here for consideration and possible action regarding the approval of the library budget for the fiscal year 2025 through 2026. So let's field that discussion. Does anybody have any discussion points or questions that they would like to ask? And Kathy, do you want to walk us through?
Sure. Sure. First, there you go. So when I started this process, I was a bit confused on how the process was supposed to happen, so I apologize for that. But when we started going to the department head meetings, the county manager said, please this year don't ask for anything that you don't need, because the revenue and all of this stuff that he explained. So I literally went through line by line and tried to figure out how I could make the money stretch for as long as I could. And the only pieces, the only parts, the only lines that I increased were things that I know I can't control, which are the co-op fees, which is the consortium of the libraries that we belong to, utilities, copy maintenance, those types of things I increased in the budget. Everything else I left alone, just so we could get through another year to see, we would have data, which we like data, on what we needed to actually increase or decrease for the next full year. Since this is not, the budget that I came in on is not my budget, I'm trying to navigate that. So I think it's pretty sound, and literally the only things I increased were the things that I knew I could not control. I don't know what utilities are gonna do. They're very high right now, as I've shared with all of you. So I think I'm okay, but I will absolutely answer any questions. I don't know if I have the answers to them, but I'm happy to try.
I'd like to thank Kathy. I know she's met with each of us individually, and if I didn't have an answer, I called somebody else. So I'm real comfortable with this budget. I'd like to see some increases next year, and we talked about that. But I'd like to make a motion to accept the budget as submitted.
And Madam Chair, if I may just give a little bit of trajectory of where this is going. And so, as the board's aware, the final approval comes from the county commissioners. This will go to the county commissioners. So essentially, the motion would be to approve the budget and then have it be sent to the county commissioners. They would approve it, modify it, do whatever they're going to do with it, kick it back as a final budget, and then it would come back before this board to be approved based on what they've sent back, if that makes sense. And so it's a little bit of an interesting process, but you guys create the budget, send it there, it gets sent back with whatever money is set apart.
So you would like me to restate the motion then?
I think the motion's fine, but just with the understanding that it's the approval of the budget and that
And
the
then
budget will be sent to the county
To the county
commissioners.
commissioners.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, and I appreciate that context, Jeff, and I appreciate the motion, Sue. I wanted to just make sure, is there any other question or comment that we wanted to field before we carry the motion through? Are we good?
I just have one comment. You discussed with me how expensive Libby is, and so Sari Kaler, could we discuss that publicly, how expensive Libby is and
Hoopla.
Hoopla? I'm sorry, I get them confused. See, I don't even know what I'm talking about, so.
Yes, we are looking at how expensive Hoopla is per purchase. It runs differently than Libby. Hoopla is open, anybody can check out the same title, whereas Libby, it's one checkout, one patron. So we're looking at how much we're spending per person. We can put caps on it, and we're looking at putting caps on specific areas like audiobooks or television or whatever. We're not quite there yet on what we want to cap or how many checkouts a month someone can have. I've pulled some data, I'm sharing it with some folks, and then we're going to kind of come back to the board and say, this is kind of what I think is a sound way to move forward. We have Hoopla covered, I believe, through the beginning of the next fiscal year, and we should be okay. It's after that we're going to need to figure out what we want to cap and how we want to cap it. And I've been in lots of conversations, lots of Zoom meetings with Hoopla representatives. So I think in April we'll probably have a better understanding about what we need to do with that to be able to still offer it come July, because we are the only library in the consortium that offers Hoopla. Everybody else uses the Libby Overdrive stuff.
I would like to suggest that all the board members download that and use it and see if they like it, because I didn't even know we had it. And Kathy, but I haven't downloaded it yet.
Well, and on the topic of the budget and the budget process, I've appreciated the opportunity to learn a little bit more about how this works for the library and all of these considerations that the library needs to take into account. These different services that we offer, like Hoopla and like Libby, are things that I've learned about over time, and I appreciate that we are still learning that through the budgetary concerns. So this is giving us the opportunity to do that. The budget that's been presented is reasonable and has been very well explained, but the other part that is reasonable is that Kathy is talking us through the fact that we learn as we go here, that we are taking this as a learning opportunity to see how the library moves and how those expenses move, that the county is our partner in this, and that we have a lot of places where we can come back to this budget and revisit it and continue these discussions. So I'm comfortable accepting that motion and asking for a second that we move this through the process, and I feel really good with what Kathy's given us.
I'll second the motion.
All right, so we have a motion by Sue and a second from Sari. Let's go ahead and take it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries. That brings us to our second opportunity for public comment. Does anybody have a public comment that they would like to make? Hearing none, let's move to adjourn. Thank you so much.